Hello, OJ here, and today we're going to be talking about the balance changes and the new dice coming to Random Dice Go. Now, I brought out the spreadsheet here, and I'm going to briefly summarize the patch notes for you guys so you don't have to read them, and I'm also going to give my interpretation of it again. So, we have 3 new dice added to the game. Now, I haven't got them all yet, so I cannot show you any gameplay and tell you much about them, but one is the recall dice. So this basically teleports just to a dice on your board. When that dice dies, a dice on your board that has the highest pips will teleport to the recall position, and it also gets healed. The vision dice, it's supposed to be a carry dice with a 2 attack range, and it gets a crazy damage buff if you predict correctly. Now how that works in game, I haven't tested that out yet, but I'm assuming you just kind of place it in a position where you guess the enemies are, and then it gets a buff from there. I don't know though. Just know that it's a dice that relies upon predictions. And the spear dice is basically a sword dice, like a melee range dice, but it can hit 2 range. However, the dice in front of it will take little damage, so only like very small amounts, but the dice behind it will take huge amounts. So this is gonna be good for, you know, when the opponent's shielded something or playing like a corner sniper. This can clear out like stuff behind shields really fast, so it counters invincible. Now they really butchered invincible this patch, and we'll get to that in a second. So let's briefly talk over the dice changes. So we have the white tiger dice, where the skill cooldown reduced from 1 second to 0.5. So whenever it kills a dice, you know, it wants to teleport again. That gets reduced by half. So it can teleport a lot faster now, which means a lot more teleportations can occur, and it can do a lot more damage on the board. That being said, if you lock this dice in the corner with some shields, still won't do anything. But a lot harder to do now with the invincible being nerfed. So Black Tortoise, now that was so useless. So they love buffing their guardians. They're basically reducing the time it takes to get to the skill for Black Tortoise. So from 15 auto attacks to 12. And then it activates its skill. The Vermilion Bird got a buff as well with the time. Well, so when you kill it, and it's in egg form, it now takes half a second less to come back and rebirth itself and explode. The solar dice, it was never used, so they basically said, okay, this dice is a dead dice, we have to buff it again. So now I just basically got another buff. It's so strong now, it does like 80% of its damage in splash. So because of the electric nerfs like last patch, and we didn't see any more of the, you know, AoE damaging builds, this is gonna see, I think, some more light of gameplay. Now, the time dice, again, was like super battle meta. We had to do something about this. All its stats could lower it, so less health, less damage, less attack speed, although that doesn't really matter since it doesn't really attack, but it matters for Black Tortoise and other taunts. And obviously, it got its attack speed buff reduced. Also, the higher pips it has, and now it also has more attack speed, like with the other changes in the last patch. Lock dice, interesting change. So now lock dice, actually a lot stronger now. It locks longer with a higher dot count. So if you can get a good lock off, it can be actually quite crucial to securing a game. Locking down an opponent's carry dice. Invincible, like I talked before, got nerfed so hard. I think this nerf is a bit too much. I think this dice is only good for one thing, and that's like preventing death, right? You don't use this dice for anything else. And I think 1 second is like fine. And now butchering this to 0.5, I don't know if this is necessary anymore, because yeah, it's already so vulnerable. Like, they buffed everything else that counters it, and now they also nerfed it. Like, in my opinion, didn't need to get nerfed that much. Maybe a little bit, but yeah. So that dice is now, like, shield invincible combos are now gonna be a lot less useful. But I would think they would be anyway if we see more of this, or, you know, like these two dice being brought up. So, yeah. Mighty Wind got a nerf, very interesting, because, you know, we have lots of carry dice out there, and this is not one of the strongest ones, but, again, once this dice activates its skill, it is pretty strong. So it is a decent nerf, I think. I'm just not sure if it was that broken, but I think they did that because of all the hell spammers. So now hell spammers have to survive a second longer before they can get a lot of value. Sniper dice, basically, it never got nerfed. It's been the same since release. Just, you know, I think everyone uses sniper, it's amazing dice. I think a slight nerf is completely justified and good. Sword dice, I mean, this is a very, like, interesting dice because it has a high risk and reward, right? So you're basically getting rewarded for having a dice that can only attack in a one range square. And if it doesn't attack anything, it's basically just a useless dice on the board. So in order to, like, you know, give it something, they gave it a lot of damage. But now they're taking damage away from it, so yeah, it's still good in a way because it can, like, bypass shields. But again, shields are less useful now with invincible dice, so I kind of see this dice being used less now. But maybe they want to put it more in line with the new spear dice, since it has a lot less damage and does a lot more behind. Yeah, but like I said, all in all, my interpretation is, so they wanted to, you know, increase the variety. I think White Tiger was a really bad dice. It might be better now, I don't know. I mean, it's obviously better now, but it's harder to lock stuff down when you have invincible gone. Especially with splash damage and more teleports, you know, stuff like that. You basically bypass shields a lot better, and yeah, I think that now we're gonna see a lot less invincible shield combinations, which will make the League meta more interesting. I'm also super happy for this time nerf, because now the battle meta might experience more, you know, build-up battles again instead of spamming battles, and also the League matches will have a lot more, yeah, just variety, and will probably bring out, like, one thing they haven't touched is, like, Berserker, Rebirth, and Explosive, so we're probably gonna see a lot of that with Azure Dragon, especially because everything here, it still doesn't counter explosive, right? So if anything, this will be bad for explosive because it'll teleport a lot more and kill the explosive. So that's good. And yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens in the next patch. So stay tuned and subscribe so that you can watch my video that I'll be uploading in a few days for a few meta decks that you can use to climb ranks with. That is all. I hope you have a wonderful day, and peace.
Again.